I'm joined by another ITSM rock star and Jira Service Management customer, Wesley Morris, Head of IT, Americas at Lufthansa Technik. Thanks for joining us on tour, Wesley.
Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Thank you for taking the time. I'm sure you're slammed. So before we get into the serious conversations around IT service management, I got a really difficult question. What's your favorite musician or band?
Really important question. I'm actually a musician myself. I play guitar, so anybody that's playing guitar, I'm listening to. But if I name a couple, Stevie Ray Vaughan and John Mayer for sure, some of my favorites.
Nice. And following that, what was the first concert you ever attended?
Okay, so nobody can go talk to my parents after this because they didn't really know that I was going. But it was a Primus concert. If you don't know who Primus is, go to YouTube and look them up. They're a pretty wild band and have some interesting songs.
That's one hell of a first concert. The Jerry Was a Race Car Driver was a pretty classic. I think 93, 94.
That was about the time.
I think we're dating ourselves, Wesley, but that's pretty epic. So, hey, before we dive in about the specific use of Jira Service Management in your organization, can you tell us a little bit about your company, Lufthansa Technik? I think most are familiar with Lufthansa, if you've ever flown through Frankfurt, as I have many times. But what does Lufthansa Technik actually do?
Yeah, it's actually a fun flight into Frankfurt, nice airport there. The Lufthansa airline is a German-based airline. They're the largest airline in Germany, second largest in Europe. And Lufthansa Technik is the maintenance branch for Lufthansa. Lufthansa Technik is the leading provider of aircraft maintenance, repair, and overhaul modification services in the aerospace and defense sector. And in the Americas, we have three primary subsidiaries. We have BizJet International, which is located in Oklahoma, and they are responsible for engine repair. We have Lufthansa Technik Component Services also in Oklahoma, and as the name implies, they are responsible for component repair. We also have Hawker Pacific, which is located in LA, and they're responsible for landing gear. So quite a widespread of maintenance activities that are going on. And in those companies, we have roughly 1,500 employees across the US.
Well, obviously, it's pretty mission critical stuff, keeping all the planes up there flying and safe. And I'm sure the costs and operational overhead is just gigantic. So what does exactly your organization do? And more specifically, what is your role in that organization within the broader Lufthansa Technik?
Yep. So I'm a part of Lufthansa Technik North America, who is the umbrella organization for all of the Lufthansa Technik subsidiaries in the Americas. The things that we provide for our customer companies are accounting, and that's another department that we have, and mine is the IT department. So we're providing full IT support for all of these subsidiaries. We're providing hardware support, software support. We do development of applications, database administration, and a number of other things. We're actually at the beginning of a takeover process. We are taking over regional support of these entities from Germany. So a lot of our employees are happy that they're calling in and speaking with native English-speaking employees.
Well, it sounds like you're scaling up pretty significantly over there in your organization and taking over these other IT departments. What specific challenges did you have with your current tooling that led you to explore Jira Service Management as a solution?
Yeah, so the tool that we had before we onboarded Jira Service Management was a very simple, actually a freeware version of a product that one of the IT colleagues back in 2011 had developed for the team. It worked for a very simple use case for one business, but it was not able to be scaled out to more entities, more companies. And it was also very much lacking in data. So insights into the number of tickets that were being resolved at any given day. It was difficult to get that. Satisfaction metrics were not available. And just simple reporting that we take advantage of in Jira Service Management, SLA breaching, and other things. None of this was available. So we had very much a lack of visibility into our own operations. We didn't know how long it took to resolve certain topics, and we were just flying blind.
So related to that, obviously you have these challenges that you've identified and you're kind of looking for a solution to help you scale, be more flexible, help onboard all these new IT organizations that you're taking over. Can you walk through what exactly you were looking for in a solution as you went out to market? What were those key requirements? And then importantly, did you work directly with Atlassian? Did you work with one of our partners to do this?
Yeah, so a couple of the things that we were facing challenges within our former system is a spread of different systems to do individual things. So asset management was done in one system. Documentation, knowledge base topics were done in Word documents. And it was difficult to maintain and manage all of these. So for me, it was important to have a single ecosystem where we could do all of these activities in one ecosystem that nicely talks across Confluence and Jira. So we're actually using Confluence as an internal knowledge base and an external knowledge base for our customers. One thing that's important as we're building up our customer base, we are, of course, getting more and more service requests. And the more that our customers can help themselves, the more that we can stay on value-added work. So it's important that they have a good resource for themselves to go and help on the simple topics.
Beyond your core IT team for Jira Service Management, have you started to use? Have you seen other teams starting to take up Jira Service Management to manage requests from their end users?
Yes, we're hoping that November 1st we roll out a couple more of these products. We have 3 different facilities teams from the 3 different companies that are very interested in the facilities template. HR and administration are very interested in some of the onboarding employee management templates. So we're building some of those right now. And this is also a nice thing, working with different companies that have different requirements. We can individualize these solutions to each one. And then when the information from those different systems feed into ours, then we can standardize everything.
And obviously you're tracking a variety of assets and computers and software out there across all these different systems. I think you mentioned you're using Insight, which is part of our JSM offering. I think you called it the brains of the operation. Can you speak a little more about your use of Insight and what it's unlocked for your company?
Brains of the operation is definitely the right way to put it. The world that we live in is so complex. If you look at your desk, you probably have several different peripherals and IT items. And it's important for us because we're charging our customer companies for these items and for the support of them, that we have all the information necessary to derive reports for them. So we have all of our customers, we're storing some basic information on them in Insight for the approval processes. So if a user needs a new hardware, we obviously need their manager to approve that. So we have those approvals baked into the system, nice and seamless to where the managers can approve directly from their email. But what's really nice about Insight is when we do have a user issue, we're able to click on their object graph and pull up a graphical representation of all of the hardware that's assigned to them, the software that they have access to and licensed, and also the peripherals that they have. That way, if we need to exchange something, we know that we can exchange an equitable item.
Right. Now, obviously, you've been rolling out for a little while, still pretty early on in your journey. It sounds like there's plenty more work to do, but can you speak to if your boss brought you in the room and say, "Hey, we've been doing this Jira Service Management thing," how would you explain the benefits that your team or your end users or the company as a whole has experienced to date?
Yeah, so this may be different from every company. In our situation, the previous ticketing system that we were using was not very data rich. It was difficult to pull metrics and to really have visibility of what was going on within my department. Now with Jira Service Management, we have the standard reports, which provide quite a bit of insight to me and my other managers so we can allocate resources according to the necessities of the day. The satisfaction metric comes in very handy. Whenever I first got to this team and we didn't have any of this information, I was getting feedback about poor customer experiences. But now we have this metric and everybody on my team knows that their customers can click 1 to 5 of these stars and leave a comment. And we are very focused on reviewing those on a daily basis. and reaching out to those customers that don't have the greatest support experience to make sure that we can fix this for the next go round. So far, our satisfaction metric is averaging 4.8 to 5, and management from around the different companies are very happy about that. The ones that we haven't taken over support for are asking us to move faster.
Gotcha. Yeah, and as far as the rollout and implementation of this, I believe you worked with one of the Atlassian's partners to help kind of identify the solution and roll it out. Can you speak to that engagement and who that partner was?
Yes. So when we first started this endeavor, Lufthansa has been using Jira. So we wanted to give that a serious consideration at the very least. It seemed to meet all of the points that we needed, all the requirements that we had. And then the next step was looking at the ability that we have to develop this solution. We decided not to develop it in-house because we wanted to make sure that this product was robust enough that on day one of implementation, we can start taking over support for other companies, which was exactly what happened. We went live with this on September 1st, and on the exact same day, we took on an additional 350 employees or customers from one of our customer companies, and everything has worked out great. The reason why it worked out so great is because we engaged one of Atlassian's solution partners, one of their platinum partners, ISOS. They were very quick to respond. We actually reached out to a number of different companies, and ISOS is the one that we decided to go with because of the timeline, and everything just seemed to mesh well with the people that we were working with there. The project ran roughly 1 month. So in terms of application development, that's lightning fast, and we needed something that was lightning fast. ISOS was great about sharing the status of the development, giving us status reports, and just making sure that we were comfortable along the way, and training my staff to use the system before we handed it over.
Great. Yeah, the ISOS team at Atlassian knows quite well. I know Thad, the CEO over there, and I think that speaks very much the 1 month deployment. It speaks to kind of the big theme that we're pushing here, which is around the high velocity IT. To go from an old solution to a new solution and onboard that many people in a month is something we're extremely proud of, and looks like you had a good partnership there to make that happen.
Yes, so one that will keep long into the future.
That's great to hear. So what's next on the horizon? Like, how do you plan to continue to grow and expand your initiatives with Jira Service Management?
Yeah, so right now we are looking at building interest around the topic. So right now we're developing some prototypes that we will use to demonstrate to the various customer companies that we have. We're looking at doing some HR and admin templates. We have a couple that we have built out for facilities and our accounting and finance teams across the Americas, because that's another shared service. Budgeting and month-end closing seem to be hairy topics for them. So they would like to use this to ease that burden on the administrative side of it. Gotcha.
So, hey, thank you so much for giving your time. I know you're very slammed, and for you to dedicate time to Atlassian and our customers, just thank you very, very much.